Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated.
Warp again.
I can't. It all came out.
Butt or something.
That's not how that works.
It could be. You have a bad attitude about this. Welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are two 30 to 40-something-year-olds who talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And if you guys would like to hang out with us live and in person, or yeah, I guess it would be live, but not totally in person, but as in person as we can get. We both stream on Twitch every Friday and Saturday night. You can see Chris over there, Guyver Unit 01. That's Guyver UNT 01. I'm K-Sig, K_SIG, both on Twitch. We play together every Friday and Saturday night. We do a little thing called Freaky Friday, which is not like an OnlyFans thing. It's actually video games. And then Saturday, we do Spooky Saturday, which is closer to the OnlyFans thing. But we play games with the community. So if you guys want to hang out, watch us get scared. We do a lot of indie horror games, a lot of community games. This last week, we played Town of Salem and Holy Purge, I think was the other one. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I had a good time. If you guys are into just spooky games or looking for some people to play with, join the Discord. Links down below us in the show notes. Discord's free. Lots of conversations going on in there about the things that we talk about on the show. Lots of conversation about just anything that you're into that's nerdy. If it's video games, if it's comics, anime, movie, beer, sports, wrestling. What else we got? We got all. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of channels.
We're always adding.
So much information going in there. Places where you guys, if you find really good deals on some games or, free games, there's spots where you can post that. That's getting updated a lot now. So yeah, join the Discord, hang out, be part of the conversation. Yell at Chof. If you've been listening for a little bit and you don't know who Chof is, join the Discord. You'll find out. And
you'll be sorry.
Yeah, like, damn it, why'd I do that? But yeah, so that's it. There's the little intro. Yay! Join the Discord, hang out with us.
So, what are we talking about today?
Star Trek. No, we're talking about.
No. Why would you do that?
That is.
No, we don't have anything in Star Trek. It's just we're talking about Star Wars.
Well, that was to pacify Cho for a week.
Yeah, that's true.
No, we are on our second half of our review over the new Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. We were a little overly ambitious last week.
What?
We thought we were bigger than what we are.
No, we should know better.
And that we could do 4 episodes. We could cover, 4 Obi-Wan episodes in the span of like an hour and a half.
No.
And we couldn't. We got through 2. So if you haven't listened to that yet and you want our breakdown and our ramblings on the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, pause here, go back, listen to that, come back here and finish up.
So today we're going to go over episodes 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
And we're going to have a disclaimer on this too. So we will have a small little break on this, possibly. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
also happy
once
birthday.
I get back, we'll get, what's that?
Also happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was yesterday. You forgot.
Well, they don't know that. We don't.
Now they all know.
Now
that.
they all know. Now everybody knows. Cat's out of the bag.
Well,
the wampus out of the sack. Good job.
It's like, well, what was it? I think it was last year. Might have been like maybe October or so. I was talking to Kyle. He's either on Discord or the phone. I can't remember. He goes, "Hey, for your birthday coming up, I got a really good idea for a present."
Okay,
and
I got confused.
And I go, "My birthday?" He goes, "Yeah, it's coming up soon, isn't it?" And I'm like 6 months ago. And he goes, "Shit."
No. Okay, rewind. First off, I wasn't 6 months late. I was 6 months early for the next birthday.
Oh, that's what it was.
So there you go, asshole.
But thank you anyway. Old man birthday.
Old man birthday. So we're 20 years older than everybody else, apparently. Shantae, thanks.
Shit, Shantae. And Sam.
Oh, and Sam. Yeah.
Sam apparently is the youngest one in our group.
Shantae got us more than Sam, though. So
yeah, no, Shantae wouldn't let it go.
Mm-mm. So we're on the Obi-Wan. So I've been enjoying this, and we talked about it a little bit last episode. That I thought everything was really good coming together, and I thought Reva seemed a little flat going through it. Now when we get into this is when I really started liking her, and I like what she was doing more in episodes 1 and 2 after getting through 3 and 4.
It makes more sense.
It makes a lot more sense. So and we'll talk about that when we get to it. And there's some really fun, exciting things to talk about. That, jumping on discrediting an actor or an actress on their performance early on until we really know what's going on with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not the best thing, and I probably should have seen that coming. Yeah, and I probably should have seen that coming with her because, she's an inquisitor. They're cold and callous. Like you get a few like very, I don't want to say flamboyant, but like very charismatic dark side and Sith and like bad guy characters throughout.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like you can't and the more I think about it, there's not a lot of them that are super charismatic. You know what I mean? And not necessarily charismatic in a good way, like Grand Inquisitor, right? He's very out there, very, and I don't think you can have like 3 of those because you have Grand Inquisitor. Which brother is he? Fifth brother. I'm still trying to figure out how that hierarchy.
Fifth brother, yeah, and then
brother, third sister,
and then we get introduced in this episode to a different sister.
Yeah, and like fifth brother is also kind of flat and kind of monotone-ish in a way, but I think he ended up getting kind of a pass because he had cool makeup and he had his Yoshi hat on.
Yeah, he had his Yoshi hat and he can Tokyo drift.
He can. I would like to have seen him on a pod racer, but
that'd be awesome. And the name of his vehicle was Han.
And then just Vin Diesel shows up out of nowhere. Pod races. Family pod races together.
Family.
But yeah, so I think that the more I think about it, that makes sense because you already have, we saw that Vader was coming at the end of episode 2. You already had, so you got Vader, you've got Grand Inquisitor, who is a big presence on the scene with just like how he acts and things. Then you got fifth brother or whichever brother he is. That's you can't have that much going on at once. And then you got Obi-Wan. There's a lot of things going on that I don't want to say like scene stealing could happen because it probably wouldn't, but it's just.
But it could.
There's got to be a little bit of balance in there. And Reva being that deadpan, monotone, dead ass stare at people, that works for that character. And when we get into it, it's going to make a lot more sense.
I said it. I'll say it again. I love her as an actress.
Yeah.
I really do. She makes you go through all sets of emotions. Like you were saying, not necessarily at the beginning. No, she's a very one trick pony. At that point.
And also if you guys haven't watched these episodes, spoiler alerts already, because they're going to happen. We're going to talk about things sometimes before they even come up in the episode because they make sense. I mean, just like we were talking about, when we saw the intro, you said like, "Oh, I saw something I didn't see before." Do you want to talk about that now, or do we want to wait just a little bit?
Go for it.
Yes. Okay. So.
I'm like, I was waiting for you. I'm like,
okay, because we know like a lot of the Inquisitors come from fallen Jedi and things because they're force sensitive or they're picked up before they even got to train.
Rebels, right? Is where
Rebels.
They originally came from.
Yeah, so they weren't always. Some of them were just force sensitive that never got picked up and got any training.
And so a lot of them are Jedi who followed the path of the dark side.
And so we see in that early scene. The execution of Order 66 at the temple when the younglings are slaughtered. We see a young Reva. Like it's pretty obvious that's her. And that makes
You
a
didn't
lot
know it at first, though.
some people could, I didn't catch it.
I didn't.
First.
I did not.
Some people caught it right away. And I caught it after I read something after it's like, oh, okay. But that makes a lot of sense why she's super cold, callous. I mean, she was like, what, 6, maybe 8?
She was young.
They were very young. So that's got to be traumatizing. That's going to stunt anybody's, ability to you're going to deal with trauma in different ways. And hers is just to be a cold-hearted Snake. What was the word that goes?
Look into her eyes. Uh-oh. She's been telling lies.
Hold on. What's that one?
Paula Abdul. She's a cold-hearted snake. Look into her eyes. Uh-oh. She's been telling lies.
The only thing I remember about Paula Abdul was I had a Disney Adventures remember the little mini magazine things you get at the grocery store? And I had one that had Paula Abdul on the cover. And I was like, ooh, she's pretty. But I was like 8. And so she was really pretty.
The funniest thing that I forget what we were watching. We were watching some comedy show, and they were talking about Paula Abdul, and they couldn't remember her name. And they're like, the little drunk Puerto Rican. And I'm like, oh, because she had a drinking problem.
Oh. I had a friend like that in college. A little drunk Puerto Rican buddy.
There was many of us.
There were so many.
Okay.
All right, so into the episode. We start off, we see Obi-Wan sitting on the ground, and he's trying to contact Qui-Gon. Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. Okay, at this point, did you think we would see Qui-Gon?
I'm just kind of iffy on it.
I was pretty positive that we would, I wasn't sure when.
Right. And I didn't think we probably would right then because he's out of touch with the Force at this point.
Right.
He's lost the touch a little bit. And instead of seeing Qui-Gon, we see good old Stumpy, which is awesome. I'm so happy they did this part. And then we know that it was, why can't I think of his name? Anakin? Vader,
but what's the actor's name?
Oh, Hayden Christensen.
And, they're putting all the Vader armor on him.
Yeah. And so you get to see that happen. And that's what's really cool. Cause we saw a little bit of it in the movies, just very little. But you get to see a lot more. Yeah. You get to see the whole Freddy Krueger-ness of him. He's Space Freddy Krueger.
He is Space Freddy Krueger.
He's burnt up. He's disfigured. He's evil. He can basically penetrate people's dreams. We saw that during Luke's training. So, yeah, he's Space Freddy Krueger. 1, 2, and he's coming for you. Yeah.
3, 4.
Better use the Force.
Vader doesn't use the door.
Yeah.
So we see him on Mustafar in his little palace.
Yep. And we don't see this a lot, or we saw it once early on. I think it wasn't prominent in the comics. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it in the comics a lot, but you don't see it here.
It's a shame too, because it's a really cool thing. It does almost seem a little cliche because it's very dark and brooding and Vadery, but it looks cool.
It does look cool. And it's, it's all onyx.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
It reminds me of the underworld in Minecraft, or the Nether, I mean. When you go and there's all the little castles and there's lava and shit everywhere.
Oh, all that down there.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's less blocky. Yeah. We see Vader talking to Reva, third sister, on the holocron. And, she's like, we'll find Obi-Wan and blah, 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 but the Grand Inquisitor, and he's like, the Grand Inquisitor is irrelevant. All that matters is Kenobi. She's like, yes, my lord.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells her pretty much, I've been watching you, and he calls her third sister. Okay, I didn't catch this at first. Notice this line right here. I've been watching you, third sister. I know what it is you seek.
Ooh. He knew the whole time.
He
and
knew.
that's big.
Yeah. I didn't catch that at first.
Well, we didn't.
And-
we had a hunch what she was up to.
But honestly, by this point, I didn't.
And how excited were you to see Vader on screen again?
Oh, I got goosebumps. Like, it was awesome.
This, and as we go through it, we'll talk about it more. This may be my favorite Vader.
This is my favorite Vader.
So
This is
far. Like, this is how Vader should have been all along, I think. And it's just they hadn't, he hadn't fully developed. Even in the first 3 movies, he hadn't fully developed to the bad guy that we want to see. But this is a young Vader too.
Yeah. Well, this is how Vader should be. Super strong in the Force.
Yep.
An amazing fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. And I think what makes this Vader is there's emotion in this Vader that we see.
Yeah, he hasn't went. I mean, he's cold and callous, but he hasn't completely shut off yet.
Right.
Like he still has emotion. It's a lot of anger. Like maybe the later Vader is
Later
like
Vader.
more leveled off. Like he's still pissed right now. Yeah,
He is extremely pissed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells her, you prove yourself, the position of Grand Inquisitor is yours, which we all believed at that point in time. That's what she seeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just wants to climb up the ladder.
And of classic Vader, fail me, you will not live to regret it. So typical Vader, do my bidding. I think this armor looks a lot more streamlined too than anything we've previously seen.
Yeah, it's a little
not
cleaner.
As bulky.
Yeah, fits him a little better. Maybe he put on some weight as he got older. I don't know.
Maybe it's a armor girdle, like most of us.
Can he just use the Force to hold it all in? Maybe.
And then, we see Leia comes up. Are we there yet? Obi-Wan's fiddling with something. He's like, it's a trade route, Leia. I made the donuts. And Leia's asking about the Force, and she asks, what does it feel like? And here's where we see Obi-Wan just kind of blankly.
I forgot.
Yeah. And then this is the coolest explanation I've seen. He's like, have you ever been afraid of the dark? And how does it feel when you turn on the light? And she says,
I feel safe.
I feel safe. And he's like, that's what the Force is. You feel safe with the Force. But he's cut himself off from the Force.
Yeah.
He hands it back, and it's Lola. He fixed Lola. That got smashed.
You see more of this, of how he was one of the last true old school Jedis of believing in peace and resolution and like holding fast to the values. I've been working my way through Clone Wars, and you're starting to see, as I get through, you see more, Jedis coming through the ranks and like coming out of their Padawan status and doing the trials and stuff. And a lot of them, they're young and dumb and full of Force, and they still have things to learn. They're
young, dumb,
very
and full of Force.
Yeah, they still have a lot of self-centeredness to them, and possessionism and revenge in their heart and things like that. And Obi-Wan is like one of the last ones you see that's just pure to the teachings of the Force.
Absolutely.
You see more of that as we go through this. And like, there's just very few times that you see him stray from that, or even flirting with straying from it.
Right.
So,
but again, we still see this broken Obi-Wan, which is very sad in itself.
Yeah. And I think this really leads up to a lot of how we end up seeing him in A New Hope. I've talked about that a lot as we've been going through this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that some more. But we see, where did they land? What planet are they on? I forgot.
I forget what planet. It's an
Mapuzo.
Mapuzo. It's a mining system.
Yeah. And
And
so,
so, you know, they sneak off. They miss all the loading droids, and then there's an R5 unit there. And Leia's, you know, talking about their little friend. We'll call him Kingu because I can't remember his name.
Mhm.
But Obi-Wan kind of snaps at her. She's like, why would he lie? He's like, people are not good, Leia. If you remember, Obi-Wan was one of the biggest. I forget what, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but champions
yeah.
of like the goodness in people, if you remember. Like he was always like when Anakin was irrational as
Yeah.
a Padawan, or even as a Jedi, he would be like, you know, you're too brash. We have to believe in them. If we don't believe in them, who else will? But
Yeah.
now Obi-Wan's, you know, he's broken.
He was constantly doing things to try to keep him in check.
Mhm.
You know, sending him on missions without his lightsaber and different things just to try to rein him in because he knew how powerful he was and how easily, well, one, how easily he could be converted to the dark side, and two, how dangerous it would be if he did convert to the dark side.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And now he
So-
knows that Anakin is alive because when he was having that little flashback, or when he was trying to contact Qui-Gon, he could hear Reva just repeating over and over again, you know, Anakin's alive, Anakin Skywalker's alive.
Mhm.
And that's just stuck in his head. So that's the next level of brokenness for him. We're seeing these things get stacked on Obi-Wan as we go through, and they're walking, you know, down this like desert trail thing. And he's telling Leia a little bit about her, you know, her dad. You know, she's like, thought the Empire's here to help us. Some do, some don't. And he stops like dead in his tracks as he's trying to teach these little life lessons to Leia. And he sees off in the distance, boom, a vision of Anakin standing
Which
there in
is
his row.
awesome.
And it's not like Anakin, like well, I guess it'd be the last time he saw normal Anakin, but he's pale. And
It's Sith over. It's dark side Anakin.
dark side Anakin. You see the paleness of
Anakin.
him, Anakin, and just this panic go through his face, and you know he realizes he's this. I think this is where he's starting to lose. I think he eventually just loses it to a point.
You think so?
Yes, and I think this is the first little hint of that. So now they cut to
The Inquisitor shuttle.
the Inquisitor shuttle and the Inquisitor C. Hilton, located in fabulous wherever this is.
I don't know, but you see a shit ton of TIE fighters there.
Yep. What's it called? Fort Inquisitor. I can't remember the name of it now. Fortress and I don't know.
Fortress Maximus?
It's got a cool name that I forgot.
I don't remember.
But we see Reva land, and from the approach view, it doesn't look terribly huge. And then we see the inside, and it's massive. So now she has to go through the Empire TSA.
The Empire TSA. Okay, I've got a real problem with this.
All right.
It's not even in front of the door. Look how far back it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get through TSA? I walked around it.
Just walked around it. You know, it's cool.
I mean, there's one. I see 4 stormtroopers there. So, I mean, and 2 officers. So it might be kind of hard, but at the same time, it's like, no, I'm not going to go through this.
Yeah, but maybe they got that little kiosk there, so maybe that's how they buzz them in.
Self-checking.
Yeah. Boop. You got your ticket? Did you check in?
Ticket.
I did the express check-in.
I did the pre-board.
Mm-hmm.
So she
now
walks in.
They're at the Galactic Shuffleboard table.
Yes. We see Fifth Brother. And, you know, Vader Fifth Brother says, "You're not in charge here." And he uses the Force to put Reva down in this weird position.
Mm-hmm.
Said, "You're not in charge here. That seat is mine, not yours." And she just looks at him with hate and says, "I am next in line after the Grand Inquisitor." Because we know Grand Inquisitor's dead.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Then we see this other one. And third sister's like, I just spoke with Lord Vader. He's like, you spoke with him yourself. Like, yeah. You know, he asked me to lead the hunt unless you think you should do it.
And it's like, unless you think I should follow your orders instead. Yeah. I went and talked to the boss.
I'm talking to the boss.
Yeah. This is like a weird episode of The Office. They're like, somebody was wanting to plan the birthday party, and they're like, well, I talked to Michael, and he said, I get to plan the birthday party. So, you know.
And then they cut to Fifth Brother, and he just does this.
Fifth Brother's basically Angela right now. Mad because he doesn't, you know.
He's just looking around.
He's no longer head of the party planning committee.
Star Wars, The Office.
Oh, God. Somebody needs to do a super cut of that. Okay.
Okay, this was actually cool. All the probe droids getting sent out.
You would be excited by all the probe droids.
I like the probe. But it was kind of cool just how they did it and like how the base like just shoots it out.
Yeah.
If you rub the base hard enough, it just shoots out.
Yeah,
so,
very, very space bukkake again. Nice callback to what we saw in Bad Batch. Yeah. So
welcome back to Bukkake Part 2 in Star Wars.
Oh, God. I was afraid that would never come back, and I guess we had to make it happen.
Bukkake always comes back.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking around, and Obi-Wan's just kind of like, I knew it. Knew we shouldn't have trusted him. And, you know, if you remember, Jedi are supposed to kind of suppress their emotions.
Yeah.
This is what Obi-Wan always got onto Anakin about, and he's just pissed. This just, again, shows you how far removed he is. And
well, yeah,
this planet is completely Imperial occupied.
Yeah, and, you know, he's more and more disheveled as things go on. He, you know, he never was, like, super cleaned up and stuff, except when, like, early on when he was still with Qui-Gon.
Right.
You know, he's a little cleaner there, but he's just looking rougher and more haggard. And but yeah, they find this the space mole. Reminds me of the it was on Fallout. I think there were moles or something like that you would have to fight. They're like mutated moles.
I think it's like Saul of the Mole Men.
Or that.
And Leia comes up and talks to the Mole Men.
Mm-hmm. Who's voicing him?
I think that's Zach Braff. I'm looking it up.
Okay.
It sounded like.
Yeah, like I know that was another one of those things. Like, man, I know this voice.
Wait.
Because it sounded so familiar. Let's see, where are we on? Episode 3?
Yeah, it was Zach Braff.
Okay.
So this little mole man, and Leia has this whole backstory. She's like, come on, father. So he's a star-nosed mole, is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hideous. If you don't know what a star-nosed mole is, go look it up.
Oh, that was the actual. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually what they based him off of.
And so they hop on the back of the little transport and they see the Imperial flag on the back. It's like, well, we screwed up. Like, you can just see that look on his face. And as they're being transported, this is where they kind of have a really cool conversation. Well, first, you know, Mole Man was just asking whether he's, you know, he seemed really friendly, like helpful,
a little too friendly,
nice. Leia's falling in line. She's like, "Oh, we love the Empire," blah blah blah. And you know, he's just so matter of fact and cool about things. They go past some Imperial stormtroopers, and they start kind of getting questioned. You know, late. They say, or they're like, we're late. We're trying to get to the checkpoint. He's like, hop in. And so we got like 4 stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers.
Damn, words are hard today. You take over for a second. I'm going to drink.
Stormtroopers. They took our jibs.
Yeah.
They're sitting in there and he's like, where y'all coming from? And they're like, they're moving us around looking for a Jedi. And these stormtroopers' armor, like while the other ones we saw in the base were pretty clean and shiny,
these guys
you can
been
tell
through
they've
it a
been
little
out
bit
here for a while in this kind of desert planet.
Yeah, that's a good little touch. Nice little visual touch.
It's great. Like this is why I like this series, especially. Like it's like the small details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking it's funny. Like, we're looking for this Jedi. Oh, where he's at? We're looking everywhere. We can't find him. Like, they're just so incompetent.
Well, like they go, "You a minor?" And I half expected him to say, "No, I'm of age. Thank you.
Yeah, I was waiting for Leia to be like, "Yeah, I'm 10."
I'm 10." And so they're questioning them, and then
Leia's powers of bullshittery are amazing in this.
well, this is why she's the ultimate diplomat.
Yeah,
She's like, my mother, he brought me here to meet my brother, with my mother. And then Obi-Wan looked at her for a second. Then he picked up, he's like, oh yeah, she's not with us anymore. It's been a very difficult time. And the troopers kind of look at each other. What about you? You have any information about a Jedi? Obi-Wan's like, I wouldn't know one if I saw one.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and then this
you
is
sure
actually a big part. Yeah.
Yeah, you sure they're even on this planet?
Yeah. Nothing. Are you sure he's even on this planet? Leia asks, and Obi-Wan goes, they know what they're doing, Leia. And then the troopers kind of look up. It's just Trooper goes, you called her Leia. I thought her name was Luma. And now the stormtroopers all slowly turn towards him. I'm like, that was her mother's name. I get confused. Hasn't been easy. You can tell, like, if you could see emotion, you could see the troopers are just, these people are lying.
Uh-huh. But that
Obi-Wan's
little line when it said reminds me of her mother. It's like every time I look at her face, that was real and that was good.
Yeah. And Stormtrooper's like, well, just keep your eyes open. Report if you see anything. He's like, sure.
Frick.
And then they bang on there.
That's the driver. That's the mole man's name's Frick.
Frick, yep.
So these top-notch stormtroopers leave these masters of investigation. Obviously, they didn't send their best men.
No, Obi-Wan is the master of disguise. Master of disguise.
Master of disguise. Hood on, hood off. He's the Clark Kent of the Outer Rim right now.
And Leia goes, you knew my mother, didn't you? And he's like, it's a long story. She's like, the whole time you've been lying to me. And she's like, lying to me. He's like, Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I love this little actress. She's awesome.
She's like, are you my real father? Are you my
daddy? And he's like, no, I'm not. Get away from me, child.
And he's like, I wish I could say I was. So I took that as either I wish I could have been there to raise you and, treat you right. And that you had a dad that was on the good side of things.
Asshole.
Or B, I kind of wanted to bang your mom. Like one of the two things I think is what it was. Maybe a little mix of both.
Oh, Padme.
Oh, Obi-Wan.
That's when he's playing with his lightsaber by himself. Pad.
Obi,
like,
are you flicking your saber?
My Rancor.
Are you flicking your saber in there? No.
No. On, off. On, off. They go to a checkpoint and Freck's like, who are they? He's like,
Freck knew.
Yeah, he's like, a couple strays. I figured you might want to check them out. And so Obi-Wan knows something's up, pulled his hood up, and Freck's this boot-licking mole asshole.
Yeah. Well, Freck was smarter than the stormtroopers he picked up, I think.
Right.
Like, he knew something was off, and he's playing it cool. And, they're getting questioned again, kind of the same line of questions. They're following with it. And he's like, all right, well, I need you. Step out of the vehicle, sir. License and registration. And so, he looks at Leia. They get out, and this is, you see him get ready. Like, he's got his blaster. He's getting Leia, and he still very protective over her. He stands at a pretty decent little defensive position. And in comes the little probe droids. And so we know at this point he's about to get scanned. And they're like, raise your head, raise your head. He's being defiant. And he knows as soon as he raises his head, he's going to be identified. So he raises it, unfortunately, just long enough to be buzzed, pulls out his blaster, shoots the probe, takes out a couple of stormtroopers, runs and grabs the mole man, Using him as a human shield, Mole Man gets blasted because the stormtroopers are terrible shots and falls. This is one of the few like really good deaths that you actually get to see in like any Star Wars thing is when the
I love where you stopped it. That's hands frick.
surprise lightsaber.
Ah,
Obi-Wan, is that a
such
saber
great
in your
place you
back? Or
stopped it at.
that's don't make that the cover. Make
And it just says, hey,
there's your cover. Actually, you know what? Make that the cover. There's your cover.
I can. I was just going to use the same one.
Or the same one. But yeah, like right before this, when we see him shoot the stormtrooper out of the tower, like you see people get blasted and you see, you know, hands get chopped off and stuff. But it's one thing that they do really well is like you're not saturated with like violent deaths. It's never bloody or gory, usually. Because you know you get clean cuts and stuff with the sabers, but this little power grid gate thing, you see a stormtrooper fall off and get cut in half,
Yeah.
which was
Just
cool.
shows you it's not for show.
Yeah, and well, then we see Leia get caught by the stormtrooper. He's holding a gun at her at a really weird angle, but whatever.
Well, you have to though. Think about how those guns are.
Yeah, and she's short.
Yeah.
He does the cool. Yeah, I'm putting my gun down thing. Pew, and takes out the stormtrooper. Now, this is something that this kind of bothered me. So I don't know
Why didn't they just walk around it?
why didn't this is just like the space TSA thing.
Yep.
It would have made sense if they were going to take the transport. But look.
Look at all the space there. You
I'm
can
moving my
literally
mouse
walk
like you
around
can see. Yeah,
both sides.
he could have walked around either side of that. But he's like, oh, I got to fight with the gate. Oh no, I need to shoot the gate. And I figured Leia, that would have been a great time for Leia. Like we can just walk around.
Yeah.
Like they missed an
this part
opportunity there.
Bugged me too, but
Yeah,
we're
is what it
gonna
is.
pick apart stuff just because this show was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes another battalion, not a battalion, but like 3 more troopers come up on a transport and they're walking off.
Yeah, get out on the ground. Let me see your hands.
And it's a female stormtrooper too, if you remember.
And then we see the officer come out.
Yep.
She looks very serious. You know, they know Obi-Wan knows he's caught, and she's very stern, serious looking, and she's like pew pew pew. The officer drops the stormtroopers. Obi-Wan obviously confused, and she's like, "Come on, come on." So this is cool because we knew they had spies infiltrating the Empire, and in this run, this is the first time we get to see one.
Yes, this is the start of it.
Yeah, so this is really cool. It's very, very cool. We cut back to whatever that damn base is called, where the Inquisitors hang out.
Safari Joe's water park.
No, that's shut down. I hear it's anyway.
No, that's Joe Exotic. This is Safari Joe's.
Oh, I thought that was getting shut down too.
No, Big Splash did. This is what it turned into.
Oh, okay. And so
Basically, it's just the Inquisitors just sitting around talking about how the probe was destroyed, so they know where Kenobi is now.
mm-hmm. And so we
And
get the
then-
other sister. I can't remember which rank she is.
I don't know because they didn't really say.
She looks very serious.
She's like, gather your battalions, go. We're going there, and Reva's already out.
The other sister they introduced looks like she like in her off time, she like tries to recruit other Inquisitors to help sell like products and stuff. Like you too can be a bad bitch
Whatever
Inquisitor, boss lady Inquisitor, and we can.
Like, here, what do you sell in your spare time? It's this company. We do mascara and blush.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Multi-level marketing Inquisitors, just in,
Look at Fifth Brother. He's like,
yeah.
damn, look at that ass.
Meantime, new sister, there's like, I'd like to speak to the Grand Inquisitor, please.
And he's like, no, come here, girl.
No, I'm next. I'm assistant Grand Inquisitor. You mean assistant to the Grand Inquisitor?
Inquisitor. No, I'm an assistant Grand Inquisitor.
Assistant Grand Inquisitor.
Assistant Grand Inquisitor. So, if you think we're skipping a bunch, we're not really skipping, but we're not going through as in detail because we're trying to get through 2 episodes.
Yeah, we get the spy officer kind of giving the rundown of hey, I'm a spy. Your typical I'm a spy stuff. You know, she's trying to rush him to hiding.
Well, she also said, I was on my way when you destroyed the probe droid, and then
Yeah.
it sent a signal.
She was the contact.
Yep. And then Obi-Wan put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, now I get it in his head.
And so she walks out to this building and she's like, here, let me look through here. She goes in and Leia's like holding little Lola.
Mm-hmm. Lola.
La 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 Leia.
Yeah. And this is one of the times like seems like a little kid. Like she
You
seems
remember she's a little kid.
way beyond her years through so much of this show. But we get to see some little kid stuff. She's like, I miss home. She's holding her toy. And that's
she's
when
like, I didn't mean to run away. It's that little kid remorse.
Yeah. And I'm glad they threw that in there to remind you, like, hey, she's just 10. You know, the whole time.
Forget sometimes.
Yeah. Her twin brother's off, just screwing around with moisture evaporators and playing like he's flying a starship. She's out here doing shit.
Going to Tashi Station, pick up some power converters again.
Over and over again. And
Luke.
So I loved it. So they go into the hiding and they run into the, what was his designation? Oh, yeah. This giant robot, giant droid.
It's a loader.
Yeah. And like, he's massive. There's a lot of robot there. And his name, it's just NED8. It's Ned. Ned the loader droid.
NED8.
Ned8. Ned8? Ned8? Need8? Ned. We'll call him Ned.
And he's talking to Lola. It's like he's just a loader. They don't allow him to communicate. Oh, what? Sure.
Whatever.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, don't worry about old Ned over here just loading stuff all day long. Work all week long.
Ned's obviously been programmed to help.
Mm-hmm.
And he opens the secret door and then closes the door.
Yeah. So
and
now
we find out.
Yeah, we're in the secret. It's like a space speakeasy. They're in the little back where it's all hit.
Safe house.
Mm-hmm. The safe house. And this is where we learn this is part of what they're calling the path. It's basically like an underground railroad for force sensitive people where they smuggle them out, get them to safety. It's just a smuggling path is what it is. And there's things scrawled on the wall where people that have come through and
like you see the Jedi symbol.
Yeah.
Scrawled on the wall.
And she asked if they're all Jedi and she lets, I forgot her name.
Talia.
Like, no, this is just anyone that's force sensitive. They're rounding up anybody and everybody. And so it's taking, Order 66 to the extreme. They got the Jedis for the most part. Now, anybody that could potentially ever become a Jedi, they're either killing them or recruiting them.
Yep.
And more often than not, it's killing them. And so you see all these little messages of hope and, Kilroy was here, stuff like scrawled on the wall.
Kilroy was here.
Obi-Wan. So wasn't this important? I think that was from something else. When Obi-Wan reads something on the wall that says, only when your eyes are closed can you truly see. Only when the eyes are closed can you truly see.
I think that was Yoda, wasn't it?
It was too grammatically perfect to be Yoda.
Eyes are closed. Star Wars. Here we go.
Yeah. And so then they get a knock at the door. The stormtroopers are kind of checking everything out.
Oh, it was by Quinlan Voss. Okay, that's why. It's Jedi Master Quinlan Voss. Who Quinlan Voss, if it's who I'm thinking it is, we saw in the Clone Wars TV show. Yep, we see him, and he was one of the ones to survive Order 66.
Yeah.
He ended up becoming a very, very evil Jedi. He was kind of the rebel Jedi Master. And he has this ability. He's the one who found Zero, the Hutt. I forget what it's called, but he can touch something. He's something a path. He can touch something and then get glimpses of who touched it.
Okay.
Get glimpses of them. He ended up becoming evil in the long run, going down the dark side. But he is kind of like the the Nature Path Jedi.
Okay.
He was kind of the loose cannon. He's a cool character. We saw him in the Phantom Menace too. He was actually in the shop. So
I thought he was like early on, and that line seemed like one of those opening motivational type, in Clone Wars, how every episode starts with like a little quote thing. That sounded like that was something from that.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he fought the Empire. I can't remember. I'd have to reread about him.
Yeah,
it was in books.
So we see the stormtroopers coming back to try to infiltrate what's going on. They say there's Jedi seen. Nedbot does a really good job of keeping them at bay, but he's got this big freaking hammer, like he's holding it behind his back. You can tell he's like ready to start swinging if something goes sideways. They look around, like he's just a loader. He doesn't understand. I like how the loader bot Ned just like looks at him. Like, oh, if you only
He's
knew.
like, I do not understand.
Give me a reason to swing this hammer.
I am Awesome-o.
I am Awesome-o. He just stares him down as they leave. I love Nedbot.
I do too.
I absolutely love Nedbot. And
he is a great bot character.
Mm-hmm.
One you just kind of fall in love with him.
And so that's when she realized, like, okay, they're onto us. We got to hustle up. We got to go. She says we're moving up the timeline. She's switching out of her Imperial clothes. She's got her holster on, and she Leia notices on the other side. So she's like, oh, it allows me to have a quicker draw. I'm talking about being cross-drawn. It seems like Leia, when she's holstering a blaster, she holds it. She keeps it cross-draw style. So she's right-handed, but she holsters it on her left. Maybe. I want to look that up real quick.
No, I'm pretty sure she wore it on the right.
Leia cross-draw. Make sure I put it in the right.
Leia cross-dressing.
Yeah,
that could go south very quick.
Mm-hmm. With blaster holster. Maybe. We'll figure it out. No, she keeps it on the right side. So I wonder, that had to have some significance or something. So anyway, they're getting ready to go through the tunnel, and you see Obi-Wan just kind of double over, and they're asking what is it. He's sensing something, and you see his eyes go big. His face is almost pale, and he goes to look out the window. He sees the stormtroopers and the Inquisitors arrive, and then you see the shadow. You hear the breathing. You see the shadow, and then bam, Vader.
Oh, we forgot to mention the most important part at the beginning of this.
What was that?
When Vader was talking to
Reva.
James Earl Jones's voice.
Okay, let's talk about that.
We forgot about that. Like, that's the most important part of this.
So they are using James Earl Jones's voice. He did some lines for it. A lot of it was, if you want to think about how they did Luke back in, was it Mandalorian? It was kind of a mashup, computer CGI and stuff. And so there was a lot of vocal AI used.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I read that they used, they reused some lines, and then they did some audio engineering to tweak them. It's still his voice. It's still James Earl Jones, but they were able to reuse some lines and some different things to put together his dialogue, which is super impressive because it flows great.
Yeah.
You would think that it's him recording every line, but James Earl Jones is always the voice of Vader in my head.
Mm-hmm. So that's important. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have no trouble finding somebody that could do a spot-on impersonation of it, and nobody would know any different. But the fact that they stay true to it in using those combinations of old dialogue, I think he may have recorded some new points or some new lines. I'm not totally sure on that, but able to engineer his voice to that point where it's unrecognizable, that it's not done right into the mic, is really cool. And so we get the slow Vader walk in the reveal, and here he's coming. This is the first time that Obi-Wan's seen him like this. And he's walking very determined. And what I like about this walk and this reveal and us seeing him like this is like you can tell that that's a young Vader. You can tell that that's Anakin. You can tell that's Hayden walking.
Yeah, 100%.
You can tell that this is a different person under the suit than what we've normally seen. And there's just this presence about him that is so freaking cool when he comes
This is
through.
awesome.
And, you know, his ability to relay emotion behind a helmet. And
It's nuts.
it's just so good. And so he's going through, he knows that Obi-Wan's there. And I think he knows that he's watching.
And he's banking that he's gonna do the right thing.
Yep. Which he's done against him, you know, so many times. And
he pulls a guy out the window. His son comes up, goes, "Dad." Vader force snaps the kid's neck. If this just shows you how bad it's gotten for Vader,
Yeah.
how bad he is at this point now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it has consumed him.
Vader don't give
Obi-Wan.
a shit.
And
Vader don't give a shit.
no, he is out for revenge 100%. Doesn't matter who is in his way.
Mm-hmm.
And so just this walk down the street, just choking people, dragging them behind him. Like this is a badass Vader. This is the Vader that we've been wanting to see for a while. And he's just terrible and he's frightening. And Obi-Wan is, like, you can see not only the letdown, but he is scared. You see this fear in Obi-Wan's face. Like, it's a combination, I think, of fear and shock and just disbelief and just all this stuff. And McGregor, like, is portraying it perfectly.
100% he is.
Mm-hmm. And so we see again the conflict within the Inquisitors. Like, you know, we're supposed to sweep the town, search for the others. And so now they're kind of doing the march behind, cleanup. Obi-Wan is just like scrambling on the run, trying to get away. And they end up in this kind of mining, because it's in a mining planet, in this little pit. He sees Vader. Vader deploys his red saber. Obi-Wan's holding his, and like he pulls it out like he's getting ready to
And then he runs away.
extend. He's like, all right, nope, whoop, 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 and just takes off running. Like, Obi-Wan is scared, and you don't see that very often, and not just in Obi-Wan, but in a Jedi. Like, fear just does not happen often. And so Vader's talking to him. You know, I see you. Obi-Wan has his blue saber out, and he's just doing those panic circle spins and talks and stuff.
And Vader's just walking slowly up to him, just breathing, doesn't even draw his saber. Like, it is so impressive, this part. And this is the first time Obi-Wan's actually seen Vader.
Yeah.
He's like, "What have you become?" And Vader, "I am what you made me."
Mm-hmm.
And this just pulls at Obi-Wan. He's like, "I didn't make you.
I'm sorry.
My bad.
My bad. Yeah. I mean, I did have the high ground, though. Like, you should have known. Rookie mistake.
Would it help if I said my bad?"
Mm-hmm. And so we're back to the Inquisitors walking. Reva sees Dan Bot. Is it Dan? I've already forgot. Anyway, we
Dan
see him
Bot.
walking out very quickly. So she kind of picks up on that. She starts to follow. She's investigating the front of the safe room. And we see Leia making her way down the tunnel. And now we get to the fight. Obi-Wan's making his way through the pit. Vader's attacking him. And we get a pretty good representation of how out of practice Obi-Wan is. Vader is just relentlessly on the attack. Like, hard. And this is a point I think that you made. He's only swinging that saber one-handed. Vader's only swinging the saber one-handed.
He's only ever fought one-handed too, even when he was Anakin.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just like, you think that's the cockiness of Anakin?
Oh, 100%.
Like, you'll occasionally see him with two hands. I think later on through the original trilogy
Mhm.
as he's getting bested a few times. But this whole time, just one-handed, we get a pretty good saber battle. I mean, even for Obi-Wan being out of practice, Obi-Wan was not never. He was rarely an offensive saber wielder, right?
Right.
Defensive a lot of the times, and he is on the defense this entire fight, using little tricks and things. Vader's in relentless pursuit. And we cut back to Reva making her way, and she discovers the path. She sees the carvings on the wall. She sees the Jedi symbols, and you just see her just mad, and this emotion running through her. And she, in her pursuit down the tunnel, it's very methodical. It's really similar to Vader's walk down the street. Slow, methodical, with a purpose.
Yeah, I would go with that.
We're cutting back and forth, and this is some really kind of cool symbology, I think, intentional or not, of she doesn't know that Vader's found, or in this battle right now. She's in pursuit of her goal, which we find out later, but this is the means to her ends. And she's also very methodical in her pursuit down her path, which is the actual Jedi path to freedom or whatever.
Right.
We cut back to the battle in the pit, and we see Vader force choking Obi-Wan, throwing his saber out of his hand, and just about to kill him. There's fuel on the ground from a busted fuel cell or whatever it was. Vader lights it on fire with his saber and tells Obi-Wan, it's like, now you will suffer, and throws him into the fire and drags him through the fire.
Which is awesome.
Yes. Like, he is hell-bent on revenge right now. And let's go back, I don't know if you caught this, look right here. Let me go back a little bit. So this is when, he lights the fire with his saber.
Right.
I think it was right here. So whenever he drops him, and we're watching this kind of in real time in case you guys didn't catch on, to look for little things that we miss. So as soon as he drops Obi-Wan into the fire and starts dragging him through, you can see on it's hot towards the front. You got the burning coals on the bottom where it's just glowing on fire. And if you pay attention to how he's dragging him through those coals, if you look really close, you can actually see Mephisto in those coals.
Oh, piss off.
And that Disney made the crossover finally that we've all been wanting.
Oh yeah, fuck off.
It's been a bit.
It has been a bit.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I was just waiting for the opportunity.
Yes. And my mother is wishing me a happy birthday, and she's trying to get a hold of me because they're boarding a plane right now.
Okay. If you want to pause for a minute, we can.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. And so, there's the fire. The stormtroopers show up. We see I forgot her name again.
Tala.
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 Tala. Is it Tala?
Tala.
Okay.
She's a great character.
Yeah. So she starts, pew-pewing from the hilltop and getting Obi-Wan a little distance. And here's something else I don't like. Apparently people, when they arrive on this planet, they have trouble going around things. This fire's in the middle of the pit, but there's room around it where they're like, oh, we can go around the fire to go get Obi-Wan if you want to. And Vader just sits there and stares in the fire, and you see the reflection in the eyes of his face mask and all that. The stormtroopers are just not really doing anything helpful.
No. Worthless.
Mm-hmm. And we cut back to the village. We see, they're just wreaking havoc. Got people on their knees. They're inquisiting
them.
They're beating them. They've got their cool little sabers out. The Inquisitor sabers are cool.
Yeah, they're
really cool. Okay, so we see Danbot show up.
He pulled Obi-Wan out of the fire.
Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan's burned pretty bad. Didn't his face though, which is weird, and he still has all his hair. I figured that would have burnt that off really quick, but
no, not at all.
No, so he's burnt pretty bad. He's hurt. Before this, she had sent Leia on her way on her own down the tunnel, and she runs into Reva, and she's like, "Oh, are you the one that I'm supposed to meet?" And she's like, "Oh, unfortunately, they couldn't make it, but I'll take you from here." and Leia sees the dead body on the ground, turns, runs. End of episode. Boom.
Which is a great episode.
That was a cool one. Let's
Wait,
talk
okay,
about.
and here's the other thing. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this too, but I think we're gonna have to end here because you got to go get the kids. We're not gonna have time to start the next one.
I got about 45 minutes. And we'll be kind of close. I can go a little over.
Okay, if you're sure.
Yeah, I'll be good.
Okay. So great episode. I loved it.
Yeah.
It had everything we wanted in there. Had Vader, had the fight scene. Everything was cool in it. Like, we got a lot more into what drives Reva. We met the other sister.
And we get that Vader reveal was everything.
Yes,
in that
it
one
was.
though. God,
Like,
he did that so good.
I'm totally pumped about it.
Mm-hmm. You know,
And then now we've got Kenobi.
I like that intro scroll on here too, because you see Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it's just the sands blowing over it.
It's
And so-
Tatooine.
It's Tatooine. Everything comes back to Tatooine. I'll kind of be ready for us to get away from that for a while though.
Yeah, I will too. So we see Obi-Wan. We start off episode 4 now. Obi-Wan's laying in the ship, and he's a little crispy,
a little crispy. Yeah, he's a little well done.
and he's out of it. And
Didn't even burn his beard off. Oh well, whatever.
He used the Force.
Yeah. Well, you got to protect your beard.
Perfect
No.
beard length.
Yeah. Didn't even singe it.
It's those typical hospital scenes where everything's going in and out of focus,
Mhm.
and he's gets glimpses of people.
Yeah, going in and out of consciousness, and they're taking him to the back to tank. And you can tell he's in some type of facility. There's a lot of people around. He's not left in the wherever, but he's completely unconscious, out of it. Gets dumped in the back to tank.
Yep.
To get healed, and he's reacting to it. And then you cut, and you're getting these scenes with Vader breathing back and forth. Vader's in the back to tank. He's in the back to tank. Vader's actually kind of buff there if you look. When it shows a little shot of his down to his little arm nubbin.
Yeah,
Like Vader's got some guns.
he does have some guns.
I don't know how he does curls, but
like this.
it's probably something like. And so he's hearing Vader's voice. You should have killed me when you had the chance. And so I wonder if he's imagining that, or since they ran into each other again, that him and Anakin now have reconnected.
That's actually a good thought.
I think they've reconnected.
I think, well, if you remember in Return of the Jedi, when they're on the shuttle and Luke's like, Vader knows I'm here, I'm endangering the mission, because Vader can use the Force. It's that way that you can't see his face, but you can see Vader kind of pop up.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think they have reconnected via the
Yeah.
Force.
And that's something that never is really talked about. I think, that connection fades over time, but once you're in his presence and you're Force sensitive, or you're a Jedi or whatever,
He's got you.
he's got you, and he can hold that connection for a while. And so I think that's probably what happened. They reconnected.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. And so now we see Reva interrogating Leia, and she holds up really well. Like,
Yes, she does.
she holds up super well.
For a little girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I would have cracked.
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you. I would have cracked by then.
We see Obi-Wan. He's made it out of the back to tank, even though he shouldn't have yet. He's questioning about his surroundings. They're at a what will become or I guess was the beginnings of a rebel stronghold.
Yep.
And there's
Yep.
people just trying to escape and flee. We're seeing the really early stages of the rebellion here, which is really cool. Where
Like when you say early stages, it's not even like
officially a rebellion yet.
it's not even a thought right
No,
now.
these are just people trying to get to safety. And so these are refugees and just people trying to leave the influence of the Empire. They're not trying to overthrow the Empire. They're just trying to get away from it. And these people they're peaceful, right? They're they're not fighters. Which
No,
is
they're just
that's
they're
a cool.
people.
That's a reoccurring theme that we see a lot through a lot of these movies and shows. Like, these people aren't fighters. They're just trying to leave. Well, now you're going to have to fight, Jimmy, because
Sorry, Jimmy.
it's hitting the fan. Oh, is this where they say the name of the? They're looking for the Inquisitor's base.
Wherever it is.
Yeah, I think they say the name of it here. It's on Ner, which is a water moon. They got off the grid while it's being built. You know, it's in the Mustafar system, which is Vader's system. They're saying he's still on his ship, but he's close. So they know Fortress Inquisitorius, which sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Forgeticus.
All right,
Fortress Inquisitus.
I'll see if I had anything one shape that I could actually show.
Wait,
Fortress. I guess. Fortress. Oh, my camera's messing up. Whatever. And so they know that's where Leia's being held. They're starting to plan a rescue mission. He's like, oh, we don't see any shields because nobody's stupid enough to attack them. And so they're planning the attack. Obi-Wan is trying to organize it, and he's being told, we're not soldiers, and he's like, well, we have to get her out. This is after they told Obi-Wan, you have to leave because they're looking for you. We got a lot of people here trying to leave. And Tala, mentions like, oh, I still have my officer clearance. So she's going to try to do her spy thing and get in on the inside, get the ship, and they're going to be ready, or so she can get them in and, be the lady on the inside.
She's trying. And you see, so they hop on the ship, they go. Obi-Wan's still not fully healed. And she's telling him, like, you needed time to heal. And he's being stubborn old man. And so they arrive. We see Leia being interrogated again by Reva. She's trying to get some information about the path, and Leia's not giving her anything. She shows like she had ripped a piece off the wall that had the Jedi symbol on it, and she's telling her like, we need to find out where they are, and I think And Leia doesn't crack. She thinks Obi-Wan's dead. She asks how he died. Reva tells him he was burned to death, and she's still trying to, I don't know, negotiate with her, and tells her, like, if you can tell me where the path is, you can go home to your family, and it can all be over. But Leia doesn't crack. Like, she looks sad. She gives a sad face, and then she just stiffens up and just like deadpan tells her, I don't know anything about it. And so she doesn't crack. She was close, I think. This kind of tells you, because remember, Leia was captured in A New Hope also.
Yeah. She gets captured a lot, like her dad.
She does get captured a lot, but she doesn't give away any info. Like, I think Leia is probably one of the most underrated characters in Star Wars. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, and as things progressed, more appreciation has came for. But I think it's funny that because Anakin got captured a lot pre-Vader.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, just following her dad's footsteps. So
it's like, my bad.
And so now we see Tala making her way through space TSA, and she gives her credentials, and then she's getting questioned as to, why is she there? This isn't your sector. I can't let you through. And she pauses for a second, and then you see her like snap into super spy mode, asking what her rank, or that the person's rank is, and she's like, well, I'm your commanding officer. You will address me as sir. Perhaps I should inform the grant. Like, she goes full Empire Karen on this guy, which is great. She's pulling rank.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and you can see the fear, like, man, I screwed up. Fine, just go. Don't say anything to my boss, okay? Like, I got performance review coming up. You don't want to see how those end when they go badly.
I've got a surgery coming up.
Yeah, I really don't want to lose my PTO or my benefits. So he lets her on through.
With my PTO.
Yeah. I bet the Empire does have great benefits. You know, there's a trade-off. Like, I bet their
Yeah, it's
healthcare is pretty
if you
good.
miss a day, you get executed. So don't miss
Yeah.
a day
There's always the risk of your boss force choking you in your performance review.
unless you're
So-
into that.
Yeah.
I am going to choke you now. Oh
Like
yes, yes, please, Lord Vader.
You're like, a faith disturbs me. And you just hear harder. He's like, what? What?
He goes, yeah. No, I don't have a
No,
lot of
it's
faith.
fine.
Keep going.
You go.
And then it's like, what did you say? And he's like, no, I said I have faith now. I'm good.
I have faith. Bop, bop, ba-da, bop.
I got better.
So Obi-Wan does his best Navy SEAL impersonation and makes his way up through. I'm going to get. Why is there a hole? Anyway, there's a hole at the bottom of this base that you can swim up through. Maybe it's just like a disposal chute. Basically, it's the space's butthole where they throw things out into the ocean. They're not very environmentally conscious on the water moon, but there's a lot of water.
Face's
So
butthole.
yeah, he swims up through the little chute, takes out a stormtrooper, and then we're back to our typical Obi-Wan sneaking through corridors scenes. It happens a lot, like a whole
Face's
lot.
butthole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's most of Obi-Wan's skills is his corridor sneaking abilities. Like in almost anything you see him in, at some point in time, he's going to be sneaking through a corridor. We're back to Reva trying to use the Force to get into Leia's mind, and she's resisting. This little girl is resisting, and so I think
This is
That's-
where. Oh, go ahead.
that's a sign. And we kind of asked
Pros.
whatever the question earlier of, is Leia Force sensitive? Yeah. What is her power? And we think it's more meant. She's not a physical Force user, and she's not a really big Force user, but she's mentally tough. And to be able to resist, because Inquisitors aren't just like, D-League Jedis. Like, these
No.
are powerful Force wielding individuals.
100% they are.
And so her ability to resist Reva's Force interrogation, trying to get into her brain, whatever it's called, I think is a sign of like what we talked about. Like that's her ability it's mental, not crazy, but mental, like she's able to read people, and she's very mentally strong, very resilient. Which, a combination of her upbringing as we see as she gets older and the things that she goes through, and her, you can't be the daughter of one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful Force users in the universe and not get a little bit of that,
So, do you think that Leia actually could tap into the Force at this point?
I think she was,
Or was she just sensitive?
I think she was doing it without realizing she was doing it.
I agree.
I think with her powers of perception and ability to read people, and right here resisting Reva, who is no lightweight at all.
Reva's awesome. Like, I have such a healthy respect for her.
Yeah. So Reva's not a lightweight Force user. And so I think this does show that, like, even though she may not know that she's able to do it, she's doing it. She's subconsciously doing it.
Right.
Which,
Even though she didn't know.
And they Luke never knows until what, another like 10 or 12 years later. I mean, they do say that, like,
I was going to Tashi Station to get some new power converters.
Yeah, I mean, this, girls mature a little faster than guys, so she just got her. She came into her Forceness a little earlier, just didn't know that's what it was. Yeah. And so then Reva takes little Lola, her little droid, talks about how she had a droid when she was younger and it was taken from me. She's like, oh, it's a cool little toy. But she is a budding master of deception herself. So she's sitting there playing with the little droid. Comes into
Master of Disguise.
Yeah, comes into big play later on. And we see Tala, trying to run diversion up in basically like the control booth, talking to Obi-Wan. She's calling out positions of droids, secret droids. Tala Tala gets called out by this other officer. It's like, this isn't your station, which is like the Empire equivalent of you're sitting in my chair. You know,
That's my spot.
that's my spot. You're in my spot.
That's my spot.
I got that seat just like I want it. Now I'm going to break it back in.
It's got my butt outline.
Yeah, I fit in it just perfectly. And so he asks for some ID. She kind of rolls her eyes. And
He's like, okay, come here.
come with me.
Let's go to the back.
Is that what's his name? He kind of looks like the Tanaka guy from Most Extreme Challenge, or was it something's Castle?
Oh, Takeshi's Castle
He can't
from
or like
MXC.
when it was paused at just the right second, he kind of looked like him.
Oh, like Kenny Blankenship.
Yeah, he looks like Kenny Blankenship.
It's like, I'm Kenny Blankenship. He's like, that. Yes,
We got
I know who you're talking. Yeah, yeah. No,
we
it's
got to
not
run your
Kenny,
ID by.
It's Vic Ramone, who you're
yeah.
talking, the main guy.
We're gonna run your ID by Guy Ledouche real quick and see if that.
It is Guy Ledouche. Oh, come here. Let Guy touch it. Dude, I
So-
love that show.
Let's see. We got more Obi-Wan in corridors, dodging secret droids.
It's a secret droid, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like a
Yeah.
mini one.
Like a mini one. Tala, not force chokes, but she straight up rear naked chokes this guy.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this part here. So she's doing this, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Oh,
pause
isn't
it
there
right
still
at-
somebody up at another station?
Yes.
Like right,
They're all still there.
maybe they didn't like that guy. Like finally somebody did it. He's
So
been
they're
a
all
dick.
still there, right?
I think
Come
so.
with me.
Yeah,
Where
there
is
was a
it?
guy to her right when she was.
Yes.
Yeah,
There was
so there-
someone in the room, and
Well,
she's beating the fuck out of this guy.
well, she chokes him out, but we'll be able to tell whenever she goes back. I think she goes back to it. Let's see. We got Obi-Wan doing some little force trickery.
Yeah, she goes back
making-
there. Hold on. This is the part. Look, okay, right here. Right.
Okay. So
Right.
Obi-Wan's hiding. He's talking on the communicator.
She's doing it behind like the window, basically, like behind in the gaps where you can see. It's like
Their
you're
little
beating
server
the
rack
shit out
there.
of someone behind a chain link fence, and you're like, no one will notice.
Mhm.
Like, and this is like right there. It's not even behind a wall.
Mm-mm. No, I'm still in the camp that the other guy just didn't like that officer.
Johnny
Jesus.
finally got his.
Yeah, he finally got his. Declined my PTO.
Stupid Johnny.
Yeah, he didn't sign Sherry's birthday card.
That's what he gets.
You signed Sherry's birthday card?
Yeah,
Wait, you're supposed to be
no.
dead.
Wait, hold on. It goes, sign Sherry's birthday card now, mother.
Oh, I would love to see these episodes get riffed. Like they're prime for it.
Oh yeah.
As good as they are, they're still prime for it because there's a little cheesiness here and there.
There's not a little cheesiness. There's a lot of cheesiness
Yeah.
in this.
And so yeah, she's going back to her station. Let's see if it shows the other guy. So yeah, that's a little break there. Oh, nothing going on. So she gets back in touch with Obi-Wan. The stormtroopers hear it. He does some force trickery, which you can tell, like it was hard for him to do that, to make the noise. Like he's strained.
Because
He's out of
it's
practice.
like he was taking a giant poopee.
Yeah.
It's,
Don't force it.
well, it's because he
That's how you
doesn't
get-
have
Until you get space hemorrhoids.
space roids. It's because, he still doesn't have a connection with the force.
Okay, let's see if it shows the other guy. Did he leave his station? No, he's right there. Two of them.
See, I told you.
They just don't give a shit.
They didn't like that dude.
Not at all. Back to now. Reva's trying to do the I understand you and we can connect part of that. She's doing the good cop thing now.
Let's be friends.
Yeah, she went from bad cop to good cop. I think that's the wrong order. I think you're supposed to go good cop then bad cop.
I think you're right on that.
But you also can't be both the good cop and the bad cop.
Which she's trying to.
She must have slept through that part at Inquisitor school.
Reva. She faked her way through it.
Faked it till she made it.
And she's like, they're not coming for you. They don't like you.
This is the whole
Everyone will leave you. She's projecting her own
What happened to her?
Her own, what am I looking for? Insecurities on Leia.
Yeah, everybody's going to leave you. You need to look out for number one. So help me. I'll help you. Help me help you.
Help me help you.
And let's throw everybody else under the bus. You know, if we didn't already know what was going to happen from all the old canon and stuff, it'd been really cool to see them like team up, like some alternate universe. Like, you know what? Vader, that's your dad. You left your mom to die.
Can I call you Dadu?
He's a dick. Let's go take him down together. And I think at that point, if Leia would have known that, she'd be like, all right, yep, let's go.
Let's go.
Like,
come on.
Screw you, Ben. I got something cooler to do. Revenge.
I do like how there is no qualms that this is an Imperial base.
No, they got it everywhere. Everywhere.
And was it you talking about our last episode, like that how they have all the same security data access points?
Yeah,
like how they've never changed it. It's like all they had to do was hire their galactic locksmith to change it, and movie's over.
They all use the same interface. I don't know why we can't get on board with USB for the same stuff with all of our phones and things like this. The Empire did it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Why can't we do it now?
Because we've seen how it's gone.
Now, well, I guess that's true.
Well, and then they put Leia in the torture rack.
Yep. And then Obi-Wan makes a shocking discovery.
Which I did not expect this. Did you?
Okay, so this is where I'm going to lean on you because I only recognized one. So we see a lot of, it's almost like Amber, like in Jurassic Park when they had this stuff.
That's
like,
what I was going to go for. Obi-Wan's going to drill into there and he's going to go put the stuff in a fake, it's a toy lightsaber thermos from Jedi Land.
It'd be, oh God, let me try to think of something. It'd be like Barbasol, but what would they have? It would be
Jedi Soul.
Jedi Soul.
No, because Jedi are
they have their own little can of Barber Mall.
Barber Mall. And it's just Maul's face.
Yeah. But when you push the button
it spits out of his mouth.
But it comes out both sides. It's like like a double-ended. Okay. And so did you recognize anybody in here besides the little kid?
I thought I might have seen that one.
That one looked familiar. The one with the
it did, but I don't know where. Maybe in the Clone Wars.
I was kind of thinking that. I'm sure that there's a list somewhere. Okay. You kind of walk through this. I'm going to look up and see if I can find.
Yeah, you look up the list. Okay, so he's going and he sees like poor man's Palpatine, and then he sees like. So I'm wondering if that was like the samurai we saw in Visions.
Didn't they say they were going to tie some of the Vision stuff in a way?
Yeah, they said they were going to. Well, and they're doing a series now based off of the samurai from Visions. Because if you look, he's wearing very samurai-ish armor. Then this is where he stops. Like, I'm wondering who this is right here.
That was a big. Okay, here we go. So then I think I found a list here.
Not Lumaria.
Okay, while a majority of the caskets are unknown Jedi, the first window that Obi-Wan stops at shows a character who some fans may already know, Jedi Master Tara Sinube. Or Sinube, Sinube.
What was he from?
The elderly Cassian made a Star Wars debut in Clone Wars, helping Ahsoka Tano recover her lightsaber in season 2.
Oh, that's where. Okay, yeah.
And so they're saying pretty much all the others are fairly unknown. But I thought, okay, so the woman looks like the way they paused on her looks like she should be important. But there was another one that looked really familiar right here. The one with the headdress kind of thing. Like, God,
looks
that
like the Emperor's mother.
Yeah. God, he looks really familiar. And so it's just, he realized like this is this kind of barbarian looking guy. That's when he realized it's not just a base. Like, this is a trophy room.
I'm looking this up too. It's Tara Sinube.
And then
and they could be force sensitive.
Yeah, this could be the Force sensitive people that they captured. Maybe they're wanting to try to find a way to duplicate it.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
and then
like
that
they're
last
trying to.
one was the most shocking one.
Yeah, the kid. And you saw this kid in the opening sequence when Order 66 was executed. You know, he's got the little youngling helmet on. But maybe they were trying to extract something from them to make some type of super soldier serum thing. That's what I'm going with. We're going
So
full
apparently they're saying they might have several humanoid youngling. So they're saying that the Ongri corpse may belong to Jedi Master Coleman Kajay,
Okay.
who appeared as a member of the Jedi High Council and Revenge of the Sith in several episodes of the Clone Wars. One of the humanoids vaguely resembles Quinlan Voss, who's mentioned. Well, some people were saying that they thought they saw Mason there, but there's no way it's Quinlan because Quinlan survived. So, and these are all corpses.
Yeah.
So, and that's why they're thinking they're in talks of doing a Mace Windu series, and that he survived because they never recovered the body.
Okay.
So it could be. I don't know. And you know, they plan this shit 10 years down the road too.
Yeah, true. So we see Leia being, it's like she's in the torture chair.
And Reva's playing with like a giant Simon thing.
Boop, 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 boop.
Or it's like Vader's like spare chest part.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going, okay, now you can get tortured. Beep bop boo, beep bop boo, beep bop boo. It's more psychological than anything. She's like, you're gonna get spanked.
No. And Tala comes to the rescues, like, I need to talk with you.
Immediately.
And this is a cool exchange because Reva, like, is automatically suspicious of her. She basically tells her exactly what she was doing as her spy cover.
Yep. Except for the other side.
Except for the other side. So she's kind of writing out what the path was doing in a roundabout way without revealing too much, like stuff that they would already know. And she's trying to, she's stalling. She's buying for time. And Reva is suspicious of her. She senses like, you know, well, maybe you're a spy. Maybe you're lying.
So,
and they have a really cool back and forth. The power shuts down. A really cool scene when the lights go out in the torture room.
And then all of a sudden a blue lightsaber comes up and an angry Obi-Wan beats the shit out of the stormtrooper. Mm-hmm. Saber goes out.
This is the first time we've seen him on the offensive this whole series. Like he is in full protector mode right here. Like he has to save Leia.
And then, okay, so the question has been asked, why aren't the troopers bleeding? Why doesn't anyone bleed once you cut them with the saber? It's the same way with the fence. It's so hot, it instantly cauterizes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And the series never has been bloody, really, anyway. No. You get a little bit here and there. But
I think that's why Star Wars can be watched by any age group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we're back in the room with Reva interrogating Tala, saying, it doesn't make any sense how an old man and a little girl escaped a checkpoint on your planet unless they had help. You know, and Tala's like, I will not have my integrity questioned. She's like, admit you're a spy. And she's like, of course I am. And Reva's like, wait, what? That worked?
Oh, okay. That's easy enough. I am super inquisitor.
I'm good. And then she's like, I spent 2 years undercover trying to find out where they're hidden. So like Kyle was saying, she admits she's a spy. Just she's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. In a roundabout way.
Mm-hmm. She's just not telling the full story.
Yep.
Like if they found out I would have been killed, look, I promise you, he's on Florum. He's on fluoride.
Yeah.
Which is good because Ben's getting a little older.
Getting a little older, you know, he may have to get some space dentures.
Yeah, you don't want to go to the planet Tartar.
No. Well, and they don't, like we said, they don't have as good healthcare as the Empire does.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. So then
you don't want to get a Jedi cavity.
Yeah. The secret droids seek them out, locked onto them, and the alarms
Is
are
it weird?
sounding.
It looks like a little bit like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like the really long legs, the tiny little front arms, and then the
Mhm.
huge head.
little space terror.
It goes. Wow.
I wish I could do the T-Rex thing. I can't though. And so now the alarms are going off. They know something's up, so they're in pursuit. He lets Tala know that, hey, we're out in the open. She starts stealing blasters, doing her thing, pew pewing. I don't know why she dropped one, but whatever.
The best part of that was to stop the trooper. She grabbed his helmet and started jerking it around.
Yeah.
And he's
I
like,
can't-
stop it.
Why?
I'm going to have to pay for this.
Yeah. They take this out of my check, you know. And so, Ben, he's knocking the rust off a little bit. I mean,
Yep.
you're getting a little saber twirl here and there. You're getting it's coming back to him. He's still rusty, but
It's all coming back to Ben now.
that would be a good cut over that.
Yeah.
And so we got Reva doing the super imperial walk. More fighting up, we got Obi-Wan doing his thing in corridors now. Fighting. We do see a blaster shot graze against the window. And if you've ever been to a big aquarium and you walk through the shark tunnel, like this is one of my fears right here, is like a little crack forming in the glass because they're underwater.
Let's go one step further.
Okay.
We've all seen the new Jurassic Park movies.
Mm-hmm.
You remember in the tank?
Yeah.
I think it was in Dominion, not Dominion. What's the newest one? That's Dominion, right?
Dominion's the newest one.
Whatever the second one was. I think that's where they had the crack and it was going through. Or
Mhm.
maybe that's Camp Cretaceous.
It happens in a lot of movies.
Cretaceous. Whatever it is. Yeah, keep going.
But this is a big strain on Obi-Wan. He's holding the water back because they're in the lower levels of the base, which is actually underwater, and he is using all of his little forcey abilities to keep that water from bursting through. The stormtroopers are trying to pry the door open. So is he doing double duty? Is he holding the door and the water?
No, he's just, they're trying to pry open the door and he's just holding the water while trying to block off. But if you look, one thing we forgot to mention, we have an elite stormtrooper there.
Yeah.
The Dark Trooper.
Mm-hmm. For a minute. Yeah.
And then he
super
lets
elite
the water go.
because they're not waterproof. So
No.
the water rushes through, fills the thing. He comes out. They seal off the door, and
This
he
is
just
kind of
looks-
grim.
yeah, you got some floating bad guys in there. Bloop.
Let me in.
And so they
I
seal
didn't
it
notice
off.
the fish there. Did you before?
There's a fish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there they are. Yeah, little fishies. Look at
Wait,
them
you see
go.
him better right here. You see him?
Huh. That's a nice little touch.
Okay, now here's where we're talking about the Clark Kent effect.
Oh God, this was so.
He's
had a-
wearing
I had
A
a hard
pea
time
coat.
with this. Yep.
a trench coat with the Imperial officer's hat, with Leia under the coat and one arm walking. So
Mhm.
no one's saying a word. I mean, I know the base is on high alert, but it's like, dude, we know that dude's not deformed.
No, like it's pretty. It's like those scenes like you see in a bunch of old cartoons and stuff where they're trying to sneak their way through and they like sit on each other's shoulders
Yeah,
and then they put the
like the kids. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I would like some alcohol, please.
yeah. He's straight up Lil Rascaling his way out of this Imperial base.
We'd like to get through. Can we see your credentials? There we go. All right. Thank you for handing us your credentials. Okay.
Okay. Leia hands like up through the
Yeah.
coat.
I didn't say okay. I said okay, folks. So don't get
did.
upset at me.
Mm-hmm. It would have been anyway. And so, they're all mad. Like third shifters, we see the Inquisitors marching.
I don't know why. I just think Fifth Brother just looks cool.
He does,
Even though
look
he's got a
really
little,
cool.
he's like a mushroom person.
Mm-hmm. He's almost like a little Goomba. How does nobody notice this? He's got an extra set of legs walking with him under the coat. God, we talk
Like-
about us being, people nowadays
Not paying attention.
to anything. Apparently, this has been happening, since a long, long time ago. So,
well, here's the other thing. If I was Obi-Wan, I would have totally Dutch ovened her. Jedi oven. You know what I mean?
he could have just had her piggyback, and he could have looked like an officer with a hunchback.
Well, yeah, that instead of like, which species are you?
You don't need to know which species I am. You're not concerned with
Which
you
species
saw
I am.
nothing. He goes full Penguins of Madagascar on him.
So I did like this part because we do see an Imperial pilot too. If you notice when they're walking out,
Let's see where we got soldiers.
you see it
Stormtrooper,
here once they get to the outside. Look, there's an R2 unit.
Dark R2.
R2. See him
R2.
right there?
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So they're walking out, and then Reva comes out with her saber drawn when they're on the landing bay.
It was a cool shot how they did this too, like the swooping shot.
Yes,
Like she
I
walks
really like
out,
this.
they're all walking out in unison, like on a mission, and she yells out, a traitor. But how they did this, that right there was such a cool shot, coming in from the front
and going down,
the elevator from the front and swooping down on him, which was very Vader-esque entrance.
And then you've got two of the dark troopers there.
Mm-hmm.
The elite troopers.
The other officers that they all just walked past, they're just like, shit, we're going to hear about this in the Thursday meeting.
No, you know what they're doing? They're sitting here, they're doing the little checks. They're going,
Jedi walked through 12:17 p.m. Like, I had
Billy
it on my
didn't
notepad. I
notice.
seen it. I
Who's
just didn't get
Billy?
time.
That's Billy.
Yeah. And so she's, a child and an old man wasn't worth it. Okay, so it never really established if Tala was. No, she was Empire that went. Never mind, I was wrong.
Yep.
She was Empire that flipped to spy.
Yep.
Not the other way around.
She's just like, well, it's because they were all. If you think about it, the whole galaxy's Empire.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, she was there. She
Empire.
She
Well,
saw the
I mean,
atrocities, and then
that's not all the way correct, but for the most part, most of the people in the galaxy are Empire, Galactic Empire, even if they don't want to be.
Right.
I will say this part in Tala's phrase that she said, betraying who you are, and Tala's saying that's never who I was, and just the look of defiance on her face. She's like, then you will die. They aim, and then you hear this noise, and Obi-Wan's like, oh shit. Turns around. I got goosebumps on this. These two ships come in. It's the snow speeders from Hoth.
Or are they T-47s? T-30? I think it's a T
something.
They said it earlier in the episode. I think it's a T-47.
They are.
Yeah, it's T-47 airspeeder.
Yeah, T-47 airspeeders. But like, I was so happy they've actually used it in something beyond the video games now in Hoth.
Oh god, those were so fun. What was the N64 game?
Shadows of the Empire, wasn't it?
Yeah, where you had the mission where you were on Hoth and you got to fly those around. You had to try to cable.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it with Dash Shadows of the Empire?
Maybe. I remember that there was a lot of flying, and I think that was the one. I would just play that same level over and over again because you'd have to shoot the probe droids. And
yes, I love that one. I think I've got Shadows of the. I need to reinstall that on this computer. Yep, it's Shadows of the Empire. I'm looking at it right here. It's only 382 megs.
Ooh. Yeah, because you would have to cable the AT-ATs.
Yep.
And try to take them down. That was so much fun.
Oh, Kyle.
Oh, what?
Hold on. I'm getting you a present.
You sure it's that one?
Yes, it's on the cover. Go to the Steam page. It's on the cover of it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if that N64 Shadows of the Empire. Yeah, I think you're. I think it is.
It is.
Yeah. There's the mission. Okay, yeah, that's it. Because that's the very first mission of the game. You start off on Hoth, and you're
That was such a great. I'm reinstalling it now.
I didn't know it was on PC too.
Hey, check your Steam.
Well, I can't right now. We got to finish the episode.
Well, you can still check it. Okay, so they come in and they start demolishing the Empire, right? And I forgot how maneuverable these air speeders are because they get awfully close to that wall and just whew.
They have very good low speed maneuverability. If that
And they're tough. They're tough little vehicles. Tala and Obi-Wan are just firing, and they hit the poor little mouse bot.
I know those things are everywhere. Every time one of those gets hit or something happens to it, and I'm watching it when my kids are always like, "Aw." They feel so bad for those.
Well, like in the one came in on the crash landing, it's like, get in. Yeah, Reva gets fired at.
Oh yeah, because these things can stop and hover.
Yeah. And she's like, Wade. And Reva's just sitting there just shooting like close range at her, and she's blocking everything. So he's like, I'm going away.
If I was Wade after about the 7th one that she blocked, I'm like, you know what? We gotta do something different. Because this is not working.
All right, I'm right behind you. And then Reva picks up like some ammunition or something and force lifts it into Wade's speeder, and Wade goes bye-bye.
Yeah. And you see the helmets that they're wearing, the pilots, you can tell that they're early stages of the rebellion style helmets. Okay,
here's another thing that we'll get to once we get to I think maybe episode 5, once we see maybe it's 6. Once we get back to Alderaan, the Imperial Guards of Alderaan, that's the uniforms we see that the rebels are wearing. The same helmets, everything.
Oh, the big
if you think about Empire Strikes Back when they're on Endor.
Yeah.
That's the exact same helmets and everything.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, I haven't got to 6 yet, so I will this evening.
No, I think it might have been in 5. You'll see it. It might have been at the beginning we saw it too.
Okay.
So, okay.
No.
So next thing you know, Reva's looking, and Vader comes walking into his room with a purpose, just quick.
Yeah. It's time for your performance review.
Yeah, pushes all the Inquisitors back and then force lifts and force chokes Reva. Like, I will tolerate your weakness no longer. And Fifth Brother's just kind of smirking.
I knew she's going to get it.
Yeah. I'm the favorite again. And Reva's like, I let them go as she's being force choked. And so Vader lets her go. And she's like, I put a tracker on their ship. Soon the location of the network and Kenobi will be ours. Double swoop. So Vader lets her down.
You get a smiley face.
You come here. I seem to have underestimated you. And then Fifth Brother, but the base was almost destroyed.
And, Vader's like, there can be no mistakes. You start the trackers with him. Knowing what we know that he knows, I think he was impressed with her.
I think he was too.
Like, I think he was legitimately impressed. He wasn't happy about it.
No.
Obviously. But I think
her performance review is going to suffer.
In the long run. Yeah. Yeah. She's really going to have a hard time getting a referral. Like, can we contact your former employer? No.
No. So he's like, no failures. The speeder meets back up with the main ship. And what is his name?
Crap. I can't remember. Probably tell if I look here.
Yeah, look it up. Because I wonder if he plays a bigger part in like the books or anything, or if they created him for the show. You know what I mean?
See, that is for sister. Where is his name? There's Beck. It's not Wade. Wade's already dead, and he should be higher up the list than Wade. Darden Gra, no. No. Brew, Owen, Beck.
Captain of the ship.
I can't find his name. They said his name earlier. Oh, here it is. Roken.
That's right, Roken.
Played by O'Shea Jackson Jr. Oh, he played Ice Cube in Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, that's where we know.
Yeah, he's also in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Which one was he?
In Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
Chief Warrant Officer something. Wasn't a big part. Chief Warrant Officer.
Oh,
Barnes.
they're saying that Roken is going to be the connector for Andor.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because he's kind of running the show there.
Kalwan Roken. Okay. He was. He was operated an underground network known as the Path. He's the guy who ran the Path.
Okay.
He was once married to a force-sensitive woman.
Oh, yeah. We found that out later.
Yeah.
And we also see, as you know, they're flying off because he's upset about the death of what's his name? Whatever his name was, the guy that died. Wade. So
I guess that he they made him for this show. He's nowhere else.
Okay, so he's a newbie. We see what the tracker was. It was on little Lola, the little droid.
Yep. She turned on and became evil Lola.
Evil Lola.
Because why? Because she had a red eye, just like 3PO did when it became the Sith droid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's talk about that one, wrapping that up. That was a really cool thing to see because we got to see. First off, we got to see how mentally strong Leia is.
Mm-hmm.
If not, using force enhancing whatevers.
Pills. Force enhancing pills.
Force enhancing pills. We got to see what's actually going on at Fortress Inquisitorius.
Which is
almost
a cool
sounds
name.
Latin. Why would it be Latin? Anyway.
Fortress Inquisitorius. I'm an Italian. It's an Italian base.
I gotta send you a funny Italian meme. Anyway, we get to see how cunning Reva is.
Extremely.
And we know that she didn't let them escape, but she had a backup plan. She's always has a plan and a backup plan. So she had the tracker there. Well, I take that back. She put the tracker in beforehand because she didn't know Obi-Wan was coming. And so her original plan panned out. Her new plan of taking out Obi-Wan while he was there did not. But she was able to kind of wordsmith her way around it when talking to Vader. Vader could have killed her right then, but he knew that he needed the information that she had to get to what he wanted. What she was saying, she wanted the same thing, but whatever.
He knew better.
We get to see some more stuff about the path. And you get to see Obi-Wan knock the rust off and actually start, fighting again. Knock the rust off that saber.
He was doing that in the back room to begin. What do you think he's been doing for 10 years? He's had no companionship.
He's a lonely Jedi. The things those droids know.
That's why the loader droids aren't allowed to talk.
He
makes them watch.
At least wipe their memory, Ben.
No, he wants to torture them.
That was great. That was a really good episode. I've got to get to 5 and 6. I've already done 5, so I'll be watching 6 this evening.
6. Okay, good. So again, we're gonna try and record. Can't promise that we will. It's up. We'll see if we can, because I'm gonna be 5 hours behind Kyle, and I'm gonna be actually pretty busy with the family. It's a big family get together.
Yeah. So we're taking a little summer break.
Which, to be fair, we haven't taken a break
in a year. We took a break about this time last year.
Yeah.
And so it's been a year since we've been pretty steady and more than steady for a while. So, we may be out for a couple weeks. But
we will be back. We will be back.
We will be back when Chris comes back. We're going to finish up Obi-Wan. We're getting close to our 100th episode extravaganza. I said extravaganza, so now we got to make it big. It's out there.
Extravaganza.
I don't know. It may not be that extravagant. It's going to be cool though. We're going to think
It's
of
gonna be
something really cool.
something.
And so yeah, we'll just we'll take a little break. When we come back, we'll have some time to really digest what happened as Obi-Wan wrapped up. We may be able to do a really big episode on that one.
Yep.
Possibly a two-parter. Depends on how long we go with it. But if we could really break these down like they deserve to be, we did these a little quicker than we normally do, just for time crunch on our end. But I'm really excited to see. I finally get to watch this evening how it wraps up, and some ideas, some things that we can do to really bring it all together. So I'm excited to get to through 5 and 6 because I have some theories on Obi-Wan himself personally, not the series, the character, and his transition from what happens here. I'll talk with Chris some on like what happens with the Rebels, and then how he is in A New Hope. I got some things there that I'm ready to get out there. I've just been chomping at the bit to get to. So
yep. So with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. Wherever you guys are, have a good morning, evening, nighttime, whatever time it is. Please be good to each other, and happy birthday again, Chris.
Thanks, sir. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Nerd Cork, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd Cork, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made up word.